All right. Hey, what's going on, party people? How's everyone doing out there? Hopefully, you guys are doing great. Now, if this is your first time here, welcome. It's definitely a great pleasure to have you here. I go by the name of Lespri. I am a spiritual healer. And essentially, what I do as a spiritual healer is that I help people to attain their highest level of consciousness. Another way of saying this, too, could be I help you to become your best version. And the way that I do that, I do it by, first of all, when we talking about you attaining your highest level of consciousness, let's break this down so you understand exactly what that is. It's, it's exactly what it is to become Christ-like, Buddha-like. Because if you understand any of that, any of those, let's just say, spiritual leaders, if you look at their pat or their, let's just say, history, you'll get to see, who they are, where they came from, what they had to overcome for them to actually become the person that they are. And at the end of it all, Jesus became the Christ, Siddhartha became Buddha, and Krishna. You know what I'm saying? So it's a process. It's a level of understanding and consciousness. That's what it comes down to, and that's why Jesus would even tell you you could do the same thing that I do. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, you have those abilities, but most importantly, you need to apply yourself. But also, this is saying that what you see me doing, I have accomplished or attained this level. You can also attain that level as well, and even going further if you like. But the bottom line is, just so you guys have a good understanding of what I'm saying, by attaining you or helping you to attain your highest level of consciousness, what this is referring you becoming Christ-like. And that's you having a deeper understanding of who you are. It is yourself after all, right? You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, I mean, ourselves, it's pretty much your business. Do you see what I'm saying? And I hope I'm not getting too much ahead of myself here. Like, think about it too. Like, even for you to maintain a regular life, even for you to be yourself, like, you need to bathe. I hope you taking showers. You know what I'm saying? You got to feed your body. So on these things alone, like, it takes work. Like, when it comes to you, this is your business. Now you also have to understand, and I help you also to understand that being part of your business is that you have to explore other aspect of yourself. Because when we're talking about attaining your highest level of consciousness or becoming Christ-like, this is you embracing the non-physical aspect of you. This is you now bringing it to surface. That's why the whole purpose of us being conscious is to materialize that divinity in us. As, let's just say, you delving into, you have your heart is open, you becoming passionate. You could be, you have compassion for other people, you becoming peaceful, and all of those good stuff. Now you able, not only you have cultivated these things in you, now you bringing those shit out to other people. And ultimately, that's where you need to. It's almost like, you get knowledge for you to become wise. But anyway, that's pretty much what I do. And I help you now to attain your highest level of consciousness by helping you to become mentally and emotionally balanced. It's important for you to become emotionally and mentally balanced, because at this point, when we're talking about, attaining your highest level of consciousness, you gotta have the, your job as the beholder is to make sure that you working on your sight. It's to make it as as sharp as possible. And technically that's what, you know, the whole spiritual work is pretty much all about. You know, it's you sharpening up yourself, you being your best version. By going through different portals, different life experiences, different level of understanding, and different level of consciousnness. You know, it's to transform, it's to go along with that transformation as well. Because in life, I mean, that's why as a little boy, I talk like a little boy, but as I became a man, going through the different life portals and understanding and increasing my intelligence, I can't sound like I was when I was a little boy. So therefore, you go through different personalities and different entities, different level of consciousness. You're exploring a different aspect of yourself. Now, granted, your young self is still there. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's still experiencing. It's now it's experiencing, you know, like your higher self on a whole different level. And that's what you're doing by doing your shadow work. That's what you're doing. But anyway, I think I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. I guess I'm a little bit excited. So just so you know, if this is your first time, I mean, listen, that's exactly what we do here. So you're gonna get a whole lot of that, meaning not just, you know, sharing the knowledge, but you know the fun, you know, like because my whole thing with this, man, is for you guys to realize. I mean, this is your, I mean, birthright. That's why in just a little bit I'm gonna be talking about spirituality. It's like it's who you are. Now all you gotta do is wake up to it. That's when the self realization comes in. You know, that's when you start to see yourself. Oh, now you need yoga in your life. You need to meditate. Now you understand how important it is to maintain a healthy, like, you know, your peace of mind, or like a healthy state of mind. But again, but all of that has to do with you now waking up to other aspect of you. And in so many words, I mean that to be born again. Now you being born again. You know what I'm saying? Now at this time you being born of the spirit. Now you activate. I mean that's what becoming spiritual is. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. Let's go back to, let's take it step by step here. Now, if this is your first time, again, listen, it's nothing but love over here, okay? Now, if you guys are coming back, I'll get to you. What's your fucking turn? Biatch. What's your turn, motherfucker? I'm gonna get to you, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, it's all love, man. You already know. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit! Come on now, stop tripping. You already know what this is. You already know what we're doing. But anyway, going back now to the whole aspect of, you know, how important it is for you to be mentally and emotionally balanced, because they do influence. They do have some sort of influence on each other. And if one of them is not balanced, meaning if you're not emotionally balanced, then your state of mind, it's not gonna be its best neither. And if you somehow, let's just say, vice versa too, let's just say you become very mental, you know, very logical, and now you trying to suppress, let's just say, feelings or emotions, then you become one-sided. Because the part of emotions, and that's why we all need to become emotionally intelligent, because it gives you a little extra sight. You know, like when you're looking at shit from a logical perspective, everything is it's black or white. But when you add a little bit of feeling in it, you add a little more understanding. You go a little bit beyond what is logical, what is right or wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's when Now I can relate to you. I can understand. You know what? I make mistake just like you make mistake. Can we work it out? You know what I'm saying? Instead of, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's just say I'll be like, yeah, man, fuck you. Do you see what I'm trying to tell you? So again, to be well balanced, you got to be mentally and emotionally balanced. It's you can't have one without the other. And for you to have the broader perspective, again, just like I was just now telling you, if you're depressed, you're not gonna be in the best state of mind for you to make some clear fucking decisions. We all know it when a motherfucker's in love. You know what I'm saying? And another motherfucker's in love. Shit. Nigga will give you everything. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is just to show you, and that's why too we would say to somebody, you're just being emotional, man. And what you're truly saying is that, you know what I'm saying, you're not. I mean, your scale, it's, you know what I'm saying, it's tilted to that side. You know what I'm saying? Balance the shit up, motherfucker. Meaning, okay, it's good to have your emotions, but add a little bit of logic in it. You see, they have to go together. So now, when I'm talking about now being emotionally balanced, I'm talking about, you understanding your own emotions, understand how your emotions work, and acknowledge it too. Well, I guess we're going to be talking about that down the line. But for now, it's to acknowledge you have to, you got to be in touch with your emotions. Do you see what I'm saying? And sometimes when people are being triggered, that's because they're not in touch with their emotions. And sometimes you may think that they are in denial. I mean, yes, they are, but understand they're not in denial just because, like, let's just say they don't have common sense. Because common sense, again, doesn't even exist. I mean, that has to do with your level of let's just say of light, or your level of consciousness. So going back to, let's just say, he or she not acknowledging their emotions, so therefore they are being in denial, which is, I mean, you would be right. However, it's not the cause. You'll be looking at the effect. And that's exactly what happens when people talk about other people's ego. A lot of people, sometimes they don't understand your ego can only go as far as you go. Everybody has one. But the difference between, let's just say, somebody, what you would call, that has an ego, is they're not in control of their ego. And that is due to the knowledge that they have about themselves. Like, you'll see people who are humble, I mean, their ego behaves a different way. And that has to do with the understanding that they have. Because they have this type of understanding, then their ego acts differently. So when you see someone, let's just say a lot of insecure motherfuckers, right? Because they got to be the loudest one so people could see them because they're looking for validation. Do you see what I'm saying? And because now you looking for that validation, then your ego's going to react that way. So when you see someone, let's just say, reacting that way, you'll say that is their ego, which is true, but it's not necessarily their ego because of the ego itself. Does that make any sense? I mean, it's right because you're looking at, how his ego is reacting. But now the cause of that would be why is ego is acting that way. Because if you understand that, then you understand that's the difference. Everybody has an ego. So again, it's pretty much the same thing here, going back to, you know, your feelings, and you being, in denial of your own feelings, and you do it because you're not in touch with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and in fact, I think I'm jumping way ahead of the conversation. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight, and that's what I'm. As you can see now, as you'll see, the title of this recording is, embracing your inner feelings. But you can't do it without first embracing you. But anyway, fast forward. I mean, Speaking about your emotions is understanding your own feelings. You know what I'm saying? Understanding how you feel. Processing the information. Take the pain, not suppressing the pain. Now, in addition to that, when I'm talking about helping you to become mentally balanced, well, it's the same baseline understanding. Now, you need to understand how your mind works, because thoughts, ideas, people, they shape how you see the world. So for you to have a better grasp on the way, that you're seeing it from your best perspective, then you have to be aware of anything else that's shaping your thinking, or anything that's not allowing you to think in the best way for you. And that's the flip side of knowledge too. And the whole Sophia, I guess. Let me just drop this real quick. Because knowledge can also it could build you up, but having the wrong information can also destroy you too. So information does that too. But anyway, I guess it just had to be said. Just so the whole Sophia and the Gnostics, that's pretty much what they're talking about. And when Sophia created this world, he did it. She did it with her lesser self. She didn't consult with the other God, meaning the. Anyway, so knowledge, there's a downside to knowledge. So you got to be careful what you're processing. I was saying all of that to say, man, you got to be careful what you're eating, what you're feeding your mind. So exactly. So now for you to become mentally balanced, that's exactly what you got to do. You have to understand your culture and how your culture is making you see life, man. Like, think about it. Like, every culture sees life a certain way. How is that working out for you? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like, and here's something else. Like, we're living in our culture, right? We take marriage as love. But if you go to a courthouse, a marriage license, it's not that. You could say whatever you want to say, God and all that beautiful stuff, and your kids and you're protected, beautiful. But when you go to that court, though, if you didn't have a prenup, now this is a contract. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, again, that's why you have to have that proper discernment. And also understanding culture, because part of a culture is that we express ourselves a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like, in this culture, we have Thanksgiving, we have certain things, we behave a certain way. You have to be aware of all of these things because they're all part of you. So, listen, that's why when you become Christ-like, I mean, listen, like, you become the best version of you. But for you to get there, that's why you have to address or be aware. And this is all part also of you attaining or becoming the enlightened one. Oh, it is a lot of work. And that's what being conscious is too. And increasing your consciousness, the more inward you go, it's almost like you get to really see what's around you. You know what I'm saying? You definitely got to spread your wings. You know what I'm saying? You got to spread your wings. So, in a nutshell, that's what I do. Now, if you're coming back, you already know it's nothing but love. It's always a pleasure, you know what I'm saying, to have you guys back. Listen, man, listen, I got to shout you out because, you know what I'm saying, because you know better. You know what I'm saying? Because what we do here, we want to make sure we keep people of quality here. Do you see what I'm saying? Everybody's welcome. But, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's called, but a few will be chosen. You hear me? So again, it's not to exclude anybody, but it's truly asking for quality. Do you see what I'm saying? But anyway, all I'm saying is I love you, motherfuckers. I have my ways of fucking expressing myself. You know what I'm saying? Now get your shit. You already know what we do here, man. Let's show love. Let's build each other. Let's show some wisdom, man. Like that would let's just give out some sights that would give you a broader perspective on how you see things and even to have a deeper understanding of you. So it's a pleasure to have you here. But anyway, let's delve right into it. And as part of my process, guys, you already know if you're coming back now, if this is your first time, the same way I was able to tell you a little bit about what I do. Now, let me take it a step further in telling you now, what is it that I used? Spirituality it's my reference. It's what I use as the mirror that I'm able to express these things through spirituality. That's where I got my looks from. That's where what I'm saying, that's how I'm able to understand what I understand, and that's why I'm here today, and that's what I'm sharing with you. So as a result, I always like to take the time and tell you exactly what spirituality is. Now, again, if you're going back to what I was saying before, when it comes to spirituality, it is your essence, meaning it is deeply rooted in who you are. You are a spirit, a living mind, and that's for everybody. There's a reason why knowledge and yourself has a very close relationship. The way you see things in your mind, that's how you're going to act. So when I'm talking about your essence, as you can see already, I'm already taking you beyond your physical self. Not by suppressing it, by helping you to acknowledge a deeper side of you. Because there's a whole misunderstanding of, or maybe I should say, there's a whole spiritual ways of looking at things where people, for them to justify their spirituality, they have to blame the body. They have to suppress humanity. They have to suppress their feelings, their fucking emotions. I think it's not needed. In fact, that's what toxicity is. That's limitation. I mean, we don't get better. I mean, you don't solve your issue by suppressing it. I mean, we all should know that by now. That's why people go to counseling. I mean, counseling, right? What you're truly doing is you are acknowledging what the fuck is the problem. Then you have an expert, I mean, so to speak, and that's where I myself identify myself as a spiritual healer, dealing with that aspect of yourself. Just so you guys know, and I think I failed to include that because there's all kinds of spiritual healers too. Just so you guys know, you have healers that deals with medicine, you know, different type of healers. Me, what I deal with, it's you. That's my expertise, and I mean, I guess it could be seen. It's psychology too, but it's all part of you. It goes beyond that. I mean, we're talking about actual living experiences, not just the psychological thing. But yes, there's psychology included in it as well. But anyway, um, spirituality is your essence. So already, I'm trying to get you to see yourself past, not suppressing your let's just say your physical part or your physical aspect, but to acknowledge also another aspect of you. Now, when we have something called the occult, which is part of spirituality, now they have the knowledge and understanding. That's why they use, let's just say, esoteric knowledge, dealing knowledge that goes beyond what you see. That's why you cannot take it for face value. So, and then now you're dealing with the occult. But what the occult is doing is helping you now to acknowledge that non physical part of you. That is why, in fact, if you don't know anything about the occult, or if you're just now learning anything about the occult, some of the basic understanding that they will give you is to let you know or help you to become aware of you having a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind is under the conscious mind. So you're not aware of that one. And that's what they're trying to help you to acknowledge. So that's the foundation. So what I'm saying by you seeing yourself past your physical self, that's what I'm trying to say. It's not saying fuck your body or no, because you have to acknowledge both sides of you. That's the yin and the yin. That's the your higher self and your lower self. That's your physical self and your non-physical self. Which all of us, we have a non-physical part of us, and that's what spirituality is talking about. And through that non-physical part of you, now you talk about God. But as you're talking about that God, just know, regardless on how you call it, it's also you experiencing a deeper aspect of yourself as well. And that's why God, too, you got to see him for yourself anyway. And the whole idea of, you know what I'm saying, Jesus already died for you. You just got to say yes to Jesus. This is you acknowledging your spirituality. Because you're already that. So spirituality is really telling you about your essence. Now, as you're delving more into spirituality, then us, the wise men, we understand the undeveloped spiritual men. And then we also talk about the wise ones now. I mean, I'm trying to get you to become one of the wise ones, not the living corpse, not the ignorant one, meaning the one who's not in touch with who they are. But when you know your essence, you could see, that's why we say namaste to one another. I could see the God in you, even if you don't see it in yourself. So again, this is all spirituality. The average people, the misconception that a lot of us have when it comes to spirituality is that you always feel like it's outside of you due to ignorance. The living corpse, the one who's not in touch with who they are. But your essence, all your life, you don't want to call it spiritual, you don't have to, but your life, you can only go as far as your knowledge. And if you want to change your life, well, you got to change your mental, the way you're perceiving shit. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. To the pure, all is pure. So again, how you see things has to do with you. And how you see things can either set you free or can put you in slavery. I mean, it's almost like there's always a higher level. Even when we're looking at this reality, that's why the Indian actually called this Maya, which means a world of illusion. Because nothing is what it seems. That doesn't mean it's fake. When you're saying it's fake, what you're saying is there's a real one. No, there's no real one here. What you see is not what it is, but it does exist. It's there. Like when I look at you, yes, you have that physical form. Yes, but your true self, I got to find that. Meaning by getting to know you, when I say get to know you, it's really you. But getting to know you, meaning now I'm going past what you look like. Now, what is your character? Who are you? And as part of you attaining your highest level of consciousness too, you have to be able to identify and see these people for who they are. Otherwise, people would be deceiving you. But for you to see who they are, you got to know who you are. Just like by you acknowledging the God in you, it allows you to see the God in them, even though they don't see it. Like, I can tell you your life is depends on your knowledge. I mean, you could hear it and not understanding it, but yet your life is displaying that. So it's like I'm looking at you, saying this to you, although you may not understand it, but yet you are just, I mean, you're reflecting it like right then and there. You're not conscious of it. That's what makes you a blind. So we always use the term blind, especially when it comes to certain esoteric text. And the blind mean you don't have the sight, you don't see, you don't have the proper understanding. You don't have the inner vision. And that's what makes this a fucking illusion, because if you think you're going to see it or have a better understanding of it by looking at it from the physical perspective, you missing it. And that was the idea of when, I mean, now can you see me? The closer you look, the more you're not going to see things. What this is all that was another way of saying, you know what I'm saying, you gotta understand how what makes it that's what makes it a fucking illusion. There are secrets, there are ways that you gotta move here for you to become or to attain what you want. And that's what we call spiritual laws. Again, it's all part of your regular fucking life. Fuck the title in terms of your living experience. Your life is your knowledge. You could change your life based on your knowledge. You could go as far as, and that goes for everybody, including myself. So again, when we're talking about spirituality, it's your essence. When you really get to examine what we do and how we do it, our essence, when I tell you a living mind, energy, again, has to do with, how much of yourself or, that you able to understand. And that's why you see people are, let's just say, you have the philosophers on one hand jerking off, but yet the true spiritualists now we understand this is not to sound smart. This is to be like because we are smart. I mean, we are the wise ones, so we're gonna sound wise. But don't get it twisted. We don't do it for that. This is only a reflection of us. You're looking at me wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't need your validation. Who the fuck is you? But now, going back to the conversation at hand, right? So, again, when it comes to spirituality, it is your essence, it's you. Now, outside of your essence, that's when now you need to grow your consciousness. This is part of you. You got to wake up. And this is what we're doing in this life. A lot of people, we have a lot of people that are sleepwalking, what you call the living dead or living corpse. We experience these people all the time. You see it in different places. You see it. The people are perishing due to fucking ignorance, bro. Or as you growing yourself, then you got to deal with betrayal and all that shit. People hating on you. Like this is all part of the journey. That's why in one of my recording, I was telling people we always talk about the part of spirituality where you got to meditate, like you don't want you know what I'm saying. But how about that part? It all part of it. You know what I'm saying you have to learn not to cast your pearls before swine. Like that's very important. That's part of you being wise too. You knowing who you are and understand who they are too. Like, I mean, if you understand, like, how do you argue with a kid? You see what I'm saying? That's like you think I'm gonna argue with a 7, 8 year old kid, like knowing that. I mean, if I'm having fun, it's one thing, but a serious debate, or if I were to try to show a kid that I'm smarter than a kid, like, what the fuck? I mean, do you know you're talking to a kid? And part of being a kid is they don't have a lot of understanding. Damn. Like, it's like you don't even see what's in front of you. That's how blinded a lot of people are. So, again, this is also reflecting and telling you, like, the whole spirituality that we're talking about, it's a life living shit. I mean, it's a living experience. Now, depending on how conscious you are, again, that's when now you become spiritual. Now you acknowledge the spirit, and you feeding that side more of you, because now you understand. You know what I'm saying? It's like you, the minute you embrace both side of it, it makes you. That's how you're able to thrive, even as a better person. The whole idea when Jesus said, "Man shall not live alone of bread, but of God's wisdom or knowledge," that is referring to you acknowledging like you are more than just dick and pussy, and we are all that. That's why some people go and meditate, because there's another aspect of you that you have to satisfy. When you go out to the beach, you exploring nature, you feeding another aspect of you. You feel good depending on where you go. If you're hiking, I mean, you may even feel rejuvenated. Like, nigga, like this is all, or this is all you. So the same way you brush your teeth, hopefully you wipe your ass and take a shower. Well, that's the same. You should take care of that part of you too, man. And as you do so, you become more. You thrive. You become better. And that's what attaining the highest level of consciousness is. Really, that's really what it comes down to. But again, as I'm talking about the Jesus shit, it doesn't. It's not something that just stays in the Bible. That's why when you understand the occult, these are manuals that you're supposed to use to help you. The Bible is there to serve you. If it's not serving you, it's not helping you. And that goes for everything. Anything that's not serving you is not helping you. I mean, I don't know how else to dumb it down. So again, when we talk to even talk about you, that's why you are the mystery of all mysteries. Because everything starts and ends with us too. Think about it. Even of me talking about God, well, I have to acknowledge a God. Nothing takes place around us without our permission. That's why you have your God. He and she has their gods. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you approving that. Like I always tell people, I understand how sensitive you could be for Jesus, but if I'm not religious, or let's just say if I'm Muslim, well, nigga, fuck you and Jesus. Regardless on how sensitive or how grateful you may feel, or maybe how much you felt like he saved your life. You, that's for you. What you eat, do not make somebody else's shit. So that's why, too, us as spiritual, we understand too that we're holding the mirror of wisdom for you to see yourself, not for you to follow me, not for you to be like, oh man, this guy's smart. I mean, whatever. But do you get the message? Because I'm shit. I'm here for the message. Again, do you want to sound smart or do you want to be smart? And just to sound smart is not even smart in itself. So truly is, do you want to be smart or not? And to be smart is to be that. It's to be a representation, a manifestation, a living. It's got to be a living thing. That's why the words got to be made flesh. That's why you have to manifest Jesus in your life. Meaning, you should act and talk like him. Pretty much become him. If that's too strong for you. I mean, I'm not sure. Well, do what you can. Take the part you can handle, and the other part, just say fuck it. So again, spirituality is us, man. Then you have the occult now that's dealing with the darker side of you, you know what I'm saying? And then there's a whole process of you dealing with your feelings, acknowledging your feelings. And then there's something called shadow work. Now you start to acknowledge, those, let's just say, this early disappointments that you had in life that shape you a certain way. Then you start to acknowledge those. You come into terms with that. Now it's like everybody. It's you gotta invite everybody to the table. You know what I'm saying? You can't be like, yo, ego, you don't belong here. Nah, they all gotta come together. You celebrate with all these motherfuckers. Those are all your 12 disciples. Those are your disciples, man. You need your disciples. You gotta have your tribes, baby. They're all part of you. But I'm saying that to say, again, when it comes down to our essence, and then we're talking about even going back to the esoteric side of it, dealing with this type of knowledge that cannot be taken for face value. There's wisdom behind it, so you got to seek for that wisdom. You see, that's why for me, when I'm talking about the occult, I like to describe it as the type of knowledge that you got to go within. I mean, you could call it dark side. You could call it. I mean, I get it. If you're saying dark side, it's not like a darker side of you. I mean, although, again, dark could be used in so many different ways and levels. But in this particular instance, this is referring to what's not in front of you. And in the occult, we use a lot of those symbols, when we talk about, what I'm saying, like your shadow, and then you could see the connection with that and the moon. This is all symbols. Once you master the understanding, then you able to put everything together. Because you also got to understand the esoteric wisdom is written to be understood esoterically. But for you to convey that, then that's why, what I'm saying, in the occult period, we use what is called blunt languages, or, what I'm saying, like what you call profane shit. What I'm saying? The most bullshit, and then the wisdom is in it. And we understand that about ourselves too. Regardless on how you look at your body or humanity, but yes, there's a treasure inside of you. Ooh, how romantic or dramatic or exciting that is. However the fuck you want to look at it. So there's nothing esoteric that's outside of you. It's only outside of your consciousness or your understanding. So when somebody don't understand that they are, let's just say, a living mind, or you don't know that you're spirit, you're just ignorant of who you are. So therefore, due to that, when it comes to spirituality, a lot of people they don't understand what the fuck spirituality is. But just for you to understand, again, that being my tool, it's the big picture. And I'll give you another example just so you could understand what I'm trying to say. And that's why spirituality is the ultimate knowledge and also self transformation too. Because now you understand yourself on a higher level, on a deeper level. In other words, you're able to go beyond the ordinary things, or like the like the physical shit. And that's what transcendence is, when you transcend. And that's why, again, you must ascend to transcend or ascend. And you'll see anybody who ever descend. I mean, if you know the story about and Nana, again, once you understand the wisdom, then you're able to decipher all of that shit. As she's coming down to earth, she's losing all of her power. But as she's going down, I mean, you could look at it in different perspective. Because ultimately, as you're getting to know who you are, this is also you going back to your crown. This is you becoming the king. This is you now, you are in God's kingdom. And this is you being in your, what I'm saying, the highest chakra too. All of that shit, it's the Christ consciousness. Again, your highest understanding of who you are. Again, and who the fuck are you? In essence, as you know, if you delving, becoming more conscious, then nigga, you a fucking spirit. There's no way around it. Anyway, now that we, we have settled this, settled. You know what I'm saying? So now let's get into our conversation tonight, guys. So again, you have to embrace your inner feelings. Feelings like, oh, I mean, even if we're going back to the whole emotional aspect of yourself, right? The recipe, like I always tell people, man, the foundation of toxicity is the minute you go against you. So think about this, right? Because we're living in a society where all of us were trained to be something that we're not, to become this image. There's a reason why. Why is everybody so different? Even in the same culture, even in the same fucking family, everyone has a separate DNA. Should you even try to do what the next man is doing? I mean, I understand you could be inspired, but I'm saying that to say, for you to become average, that means that's what everybody's doing. I mean, then you have different setups. I mean, listen, there's a reason why I'm not singing. That's not one of my gifts. Somebody else that does it, I'll go ahead and fucking enjoy that. And guess what? Somebody else who may be singing now may want to come get this work from me. Vice versa. This is how important us sharing our gifts, but how we're feeding one another. But most importantly, like society is really pretty much against you. And that's truly what true abuse is. Or, I mean, I just don't want to be so dramatic by calling, society your enemies and shit. But that's what it is. They rocking you to sleep. Anybody or anyone who doesn't allow you to be the best version of you is killing you. I mean, again, unless you choose not to identify with your inner feelings. And even when you choose not to do it, that's why a lot of people have anxiety, man. You know what I'm saying? Like even though you could suck out how many dicks you want to get money, right? I mean, shit, nigga. Like, I mean, you may say it's all about money, but there's certain, come on, man. Like, I mean, I don't know. Do you see what I'm saying? In fact, that's why some people who have money commit suicide. And even having money too, it's not the answer to nothing. So I'm saying that to say, the minute you're not going within, I mean, it's chaotic, and that's truly what insanity is too. That's the foundation for true insanity. So now you become the person that's doing the same thing over and over, knowing that it's not working, knowing that you're not fulfilled. And that's what you see in the society that you're living in. The fucking images that people are, I mean, that's all it is. That's all it comes down to. So it's not a coincidence that greed, delusion, because now you don't have the proper understanding, because you don't understand that even when it comes to money, I mean, shit, like, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not the first one to say it. It's been said. A lot of people who understand life will say it. And niggas that got money tell you the same shit too. I remember I was watching 50 Cent. He was saying some shit like he thought having money was going to solve his problem. Then when he got money, it wasn't the case. In fact, there's other problems that comes with money. The whole shit he had to go through, I guess, with his son. I don't remember. But listen, again, like, I'm not trying to sound like a good guy here. You know what I'm saying? It's just fucking facts, man. I'm not trying to be humble. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, like, money's not fucking everything. How can it be everything when you the one you created that? So again, then now delusion plays a big part. And because you are so delusional, greed, jealousy, envy, and all that shit, it comes with it. I mean, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's what crazy is too. So the minute you depart from yourself, man, like you fucked up right then and there, man. That's why they tell you don't look at where you fell. You know what I'm saying? If it's not where, I mean, how the fuck do they say it? I think it's I can't recall the way it says, but when you fell, I mean, it's not where it's not where the shit happened. Where you somehow got you kicked your leg somewhere, or somebody kicked you, whatever the fuck. Where you fell, it's not where the shit is. I can't recall how you know what I'm saying. But the bottom line in this too, man, is to there's cause and effect. So the reason why you got to do your shadow work, this is you delving into the cause, the other side of you, the dark side of you, the non-physical aspect of you. But anyway, I think because I wanted to talk about this again because I want you guys to truly get it. Like, when spirituality is your essence. But anyway, now going back into you, to embrace your feelings, you have to embrace your inner feelings. But for you to do so, you would have to embrace yourself. And the minute you don't embrace your inner feelings, because now what's happening to you is that because we've been trained to become this image. Because now you attach yourself to that image. That's why you don't acknowledge your feelings. Any feelings that doesn't pertain or that doesn't support what you identify yourself with. That's why it's important for you to understand or to know what do you identify yourself with. Just like I always tell you guys, if you think money's everything, well, you do anything for money. But if you truly understand money's not everything, how the fuck are you gonna do everything for money? And this is how, you know what I'm saying, your life is a reflection of your thoughts. This is referring to the understanding or your level of vibration. That's what we call it, right? The level, the how you resonate. We're talking about your vibration. Is it high? Is it low? Low vibrational people. When we say that, we understand what we say. Again, this is referring to, the amount of wisdom that you. I mean, how sharp are you truly? And when you say low vibrational, you know what I'm saying, that like the vibration is they don't see a whole lot, and those are the blind ones. The people are perishing due to fucking ignorance. Again, spirituality also is a reflection of the world that you're living in. That's what makes it your life. Because regardless of what science, or let's just say what religion you choose to be part of, ultimately it's all going to go down to there's a story of creation talking about you, how you're created, and whatever that is in mythology. And I'm not going to go there, but your mythology reflects your society. But anyway, so because now you attached to that image, you don't approve any feelings that's not in accordance with that, but you still feel it. And that's where you fighting yourself. That's where the anxiety, the depression comes in. You know what I'm saying? When you go to a job that you know you don't love, yeah, that's where the anxiety, you conflicting going against you. So that's the same thing that's also taking place when, let's just say, how can I say this? Okay, I'll give you one better. If you're a woman, you say to yourself, I'm independent woman, right? Because you claim to that idea, and that's how you identify yourself. If you were to go through a breakup, you're gonna act like this ain't nothing. Why? Because you're independent. So any feeling that would make you kind of appear too soft, not independent, and that's what you see people doing when their ego is being loud. It's not truly the ego. The ego is protecting, the stupid motherfucker who's insecure. So due to your insecurity, the ego is doing its best because the ego is there to protect you. And as you become smart too, you'll get to see how the ego protects you. I know for me, I've had experiences where I have experienced my ego, and my ego is my best friend. And that has to do with the type of knowledge that I process because I eat from the tree of life, meaning I eat from life knowledge. My head's never gonna get big because I understand we all need fucking each other. Not because I'm saying it to myself, because it's the fucking reality. Look around you. Like we always say too, if it wasn't for poor people, rich people would have to eat their money. Regardless of how much money you got, if the store's closed, the store's closed, man. Now you could buy the whole store if you want. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But when it's closed, it's closed. But anyway, I'm saying all of that to say, again, if you even have a little bit of understanding of yourself, then it gives you a broader perspective. That's why it's important for you to embrace your feelings, to acknowledge them, not to suppress it. Because it's gonna show up one way or another. When people are being triggered, well, that is themselves. Like, there's no way, like, no, I mean, that's why you're always gonna be fighting yourself. And what you're seeing when you see that person being in denial, and this is, something that's taking place underneath, like, this is the war that spirit is going through. It's them and their shadow. So that's why for me, because I understand that, that's why I don't judge you, motherfuckers. Or my judgment is namaste, bitch. It's all good, but you'll be all right. Your day will come. I mean, shit, nigga. I mean, my day came. Hey, what can I say, man? You know what I'm saying? Because I also understand certain things also had to play out in my life for me to attain that level too. So maybe you haven't gone through it yet. It may take a couple lives. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm here to, to pass down the wisdom for who's ready for it. When you're ready, it's gonna find you, baby. And if you're seeking for it, I got it for you here. You came in the right spot. So again, not embracing your feelings, it's a recipe for disaster. Well, that is disaster in itself. In fact, that's what disaster is. Good or bad. Good or bad. And if you go see a shrink, you go see a therapist, that's the work that they're doing with you. Because they understand that understanding that you have in you. That's why when you're dealing with certain pain, these are really fucking actual energy. If you see that cartoon emoji, I mean, shit, like, we are that. That's why we are energy. We are all energies. That's why you go through those different phases, and if you understand or you know anything about aura, then your chakra and everything, you're a living mind. You're living your spirit. But for you to be fully in control of yourself, you got to embrace your spiritual side. The minute you one-sided, it's like the spirituality helps you to maintain your physicality. But if you just have the physicality, you're not going to be able to sustain your physicality. That's why man needs God and God needs man for you to thrive. And that God idea, just like I talked about in one of my recordings, it goes deep. God could be anything. It could be a God sitting down. It could be a fucking affirmation that you actually receive. It could be a certain way that you feel. Listen, man, you need it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But when you don't master it, meaning you don't understand what you're doing, that's when you lost. Because if you understand that you act like you're God, then the first thing you got to do is make sure you pick the best God ever. Because I would assume you want to have the best behavior. Why the fuck not? I mean, if why not making the best? I mean, the best out of you, man. There's no other way around it. Just like I always tell people, that's why death and birth don't matter. It don't matter. So if you were born, at some point you're gonna die anyway. Are you not gonna eat? Are you not gonna wash your ass? And if you're gonna do these things, why not fucking making the best out of your fucking life? So that's why death or birth doesn't matter. What are you doing now? It doesn't matter. And even when you're talking about death too, there's no life. And where there's life, there's no death. I mean, when you fully grasp that, I mean, it puts you right here, right now. What are we doing? It's not normal for you not to want to be your best. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. That's when you being lost is. That's where the disconnection is. And anybody who understand that, that's why you'll see some people will tell you, why don't you disappear for 6 months, bro? Disappear for a year. What they truly, that's why in life too, you got to sacrifice yourself for a better self. And that's what the transformation is. But what part of you are you feeding? Because ultimately, let's be honest, man, it really comes down to two things. And the way I like to break it down is either you're following God or you worship idols. And when I'm talking about idols, I'm not talking about, let's just say I got the skull here. You know, these are symbols that a lot of you motherfuckers don't understand. But idols, what I'm referring to, that's what you identify yourself with external shit. Now, Gucci means a whole lot to you. You're living your life on that. That becomes your self-esteem. So for you to maintain that, you suppress anything that, you know what I'm saying, that and that's how you choose to live your life. So you're technically living backwards. It's a painful life. Like, I don't know how you guys do it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, can you imagine, like, living in itself, the shit you got to explore about yourself? And then now you say, fuck that shit, you're gonna keep up with the Joneses? Like, you're missing out on the whole shit about you to fake with other motherfuckers. Like, if that's not losing and losing, I don't even know what the fuck that is. Like, if you're doing anything, you don't even take pleasure out of it. It's almost like, what are you doing? I mean, it's technically a suicide mission. Have at it. But to the pure, you know, this is for the great listeners. So now, what's taking place in your physical life, in terms of, you know, because now we are clinging to certain ideas, or your self image now becomes your self esteem. And that's what you also see when, you know, someone's ego now is protecting them. A lot of us don't truly understand what's taking place when you see the loudest motherfucker like making noises and all that. No, it's he's not safe. He doesn't feel secure. He's not safe. So we gotta make noise, you know, to protect ourselves here. That's why you're begging for validation. And a lot of these things also take place when you choose to ignore your own feelings. So not only that you're losing because you didn't even acknowledge your own fucking feelings, now there's a pain. I like you're not even gaining. I like it's ridiculous. It's stupidity at its best. If this is not what ignorant is, like, I don't know. That's being in the bottom of the pit. Like that's totally lost. And someone like that, when you don't embrace your own feelings too, you automatically becomes delusional too. Delusional meaning you can't see what's in front of you. You don't. You you're blind. You don't have the sight. And in most cases, you see these people, they follow other blinds. And that's why you got to let the blinds be with the blinds, baby. That is not your business. And this is also another part of spirituality that you have to be aware as you getting on that journey. Because you're going to deal with a lot of these motherfuckers. In fact, these motherfuckers are going to be everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, as you become more conscious, it's like you gotta really, know where to step. Like in this minefield, you gotta be careful. And that's when casting your pearls before swine, this is all part of you creating your boundaries. This is all of that. It all comes with the territory of you claiming your kingdom. Because this is your kingdom, isn't it not? Well, to the real kings, what's up, niggas? See what I'm saying? And that's why also too, another Jews, just so you guys understand, when we always talk about the kingdom of God, all of that, this is referring to yourself, it's your universe. If you're not in order, and as everybody knows, for you to have control of your environment, you got to have self control. So here's something else too to show you the illusion of what you're living in. And that's why it's important for you to understand the spiritual laws, meaning how life works. A lot of us were being born living life without understanding. And those jewels or understanding, that's what they are. The minute you're looking to control other people, that's because you don't have any control over yourself. And the minute you have control over you, you control everything. Trust me. I stay on top of everything because I master myself. But I would have to master that's why it's important for you to acknowledge or embrace your feelings. You don't suppress anything, you acknowledge it. So embracing your feelings, it's the minute you do, it helps you to even, that's what's going to lead you to your transformation. And that's truly how you go beyond things. You see what I'm saying? You don't skip anything, you go through it. And anybody who knows anything will tell you that. You see what I'm saying? And that's what you'll see in a lot of those movies too, right? Then you'll see the mother who doesn't want to talk about her son or her daughter who got killed again, and then, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's trying to get you, listen, to get over it. You got to talk about it. That's why I always tell people too, like people who became smart or became smarter, we all have testimonies, man. If you can't tell me how stupid you used to be, well, I'm sorry to say, you're still stupid. Because anybody I know who's no longer stupid know how they used to be stupid. In fact, because you becoming smarter or becoming more self-aware, it's you acknowledging the here and now, seeing the differences and seeing how you're progressing. So you have to process, it's you truly processing your actuality. So again, but for you to process your actuality, you cannot be delusional. So again, you would have to embrace and for you to not to be all of delusional, not to have greed and all that shit, not to be fucking ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Then now you have motherfuckers who are just chasing fame. But it's not a coincidence. I mean, you all. I mean, that's what your interpretation of life is. Do you see what I'm saying? Like everybody wants to be successful, but success it's your shit. It's what you make out of it. Like for me, if you're asking me, I'm living a successful life, man. I went from negative to positive. And like my man Biggie said, how is that not good? You know what I'm saying? Listen, if you anybody came, let's just say from being a stupid person to a smart person, that's what success is, bro. That alone. Now you may not want to use the term that I use. You may say it's a little, I emphasize a little too much, but because we all had to learn, not necessarily means that we were stupid. I get it. Listen, have at it. Listen, I mean, that part is your part. But just so you know, like I'm just that comfortable with me. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I do acknowledge. Like the first thing I would, in fact, I acknowledge so much of what you're saying. I know for me, and that's what I realized. That's when I know I was a smart guy. When I realized I was a smart man, it was not because of what I knew, but it's because I knew that I needed to know more. In other words, I knew that I was stupid, and that's what we always tell people. Like, only the smart men know how stupid they are. That's why we say, another way of saying that, if you don't like the way I'm saying it, okay. Another way of saying that is that the wise men, right, they say, what, how the fuck did they say that shit? Escape out of it. The smart man knows that he do not know a lot, but this dumb motherfucker think that he knows everything. See, for you to think that you know everything, that's because you're not conscious. You're not aware of what you even like. How can you know everything? I mean, again, and that goes to show you too. That's why the Kabbalion tells us about gender, polarity. It's all part of us. It's all surrounded us. The masculine and the feminine energy. It's all around us. Anything is good, could be bad. Bad could be good. I mean, it's everything. It has that dualistic aspect of it. And that type of understanding is to help you to master yourself. Again, it's you being the best of you, not to fall for the fucking okey doke. And that's what most people do. Because when you really look at it, most people, if you're living your life based on who you should be, no wonder why a lot of us we are attached to more to we're feeding ourselves a lot of shit that doesn't exist. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, and one of the main thing that I talked about was, us devaluing ourselves. It's in your mind. In reality, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't even exist. So again, I don't know what reality you guys are even living. So think about it this way, right? The reality that we in is this. You fall. The only reason why you fall is for you to get up. That's the reality that you're living in. Meaning, you are walking today because as a toddler, you kept walking. when you fell. So your reality here, there's no fucking perfection. So for you to be that's why if you don't try anything, I mean, if you don't make mistake, you're not trying. Your business here is to make as many mistakes that you can because through your mistakes, that's how you elevate. Not the other way around. So this is you living in your fucking mind. Because a lot of us are delusional. It's like you ain't doing shit, but you're expecting everything. The fuck? Meanwhile, everybody who's becoming successful, I mean, Les Brown says it best. He said, you're gonna fail through success. You stepping into success, and then as you failing. That couldn't be said any like, and that is to show you, and what he's talking about. He's not telling you. I mean, he is a motivational speaker. But as a spiritual healer myself, I don't see no fucking motivation in this shit. He's really telling you about your essence, bro. No, regardless on how you want to flip it, how you want to dissect it, it's your essence. Your essence meaning we all gotta fall, man. If you're gonna get up, to you to stay up, I mean, failure and success goes hand in hand. That's why the yin and the yang, the good and bad, that's why they are polarities. You cannot be independent if you don't embrace your dependency. And everybody who's independent is also dependent. If you're a business person, you're a business guy, or if you trade, well, you're gonna depend on the fucking trade, nigga. I mean, I understand you don't have a boss. I get it. And if you become the boss, guess who you're gonna depend to? On employees. That's why your companies are bullshitting you, giving you Christmas gifts, fucking all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they depend on you, nigga. So now they're doing research to keep you better. And the one thing they're doing very good here is to make you think that you need them. And that's the best thing, I guess, that ever created out of it. And that's what a job and all that shit. Now you going to school to that. So the best thing they ever did was to make you believe that, you know, your life means nothing without them. And that's okie doke in itself. So again, what reality are we truly talking about here? So that's why when you're not spiritual, or you have not, you don't know your essence, you fucking delusional. You insane. Only through attaining the Christ consciousness can you become sane. There's no other way around it. Only when you start to acknowledge your feelings, the God quality in you, then now you balance shit out. Because as you already know, the fruit of the Spirit are what? Joy, peace, compassion, all that good shit. So for you to be a good human being, you can't fake the funk. It's you gotta fucking become spiritual. No other ways around that. To get rid of that mental institution, you gotta become spiritual. There's no way around it. So again, embracing your feelings goes a long way. But for you to do that, you have to embrace yourself. It's almost like the idea, you know, for you to get there, you got to know how to get there, or you got to have the address. although you never been there. So it's almost. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you gotta know for you to know more. If that makes any sense. And here's something else too. That's why you have to learn how to embrace the unknown too. Because for me, I'm. Oh man. Anyway, um, now going back to your feelings. You know, when people like, if we're going back to to that example, right? You know how women, you want to be independent. So now, if you're going through a breakup, you gotta act tough because now you are suppressing anything that's gonna make you look weak, and that's what a lot of you motherfuckers are doing when you don't seek for love, and that's what you hiding. Oh, I know your pain. Come here. Snatch that shit out of you, bitch. You don't know how to deal with your feelings. And because you don't have a better understanding of it, you're making you're making a scene out here. And that's when your ego comes in too. You see, you already all fucked up. Then the ego like, hey man, alright, so we all fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Then you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? How do you live in a society, man? Like shit, like it's greed, it's money, and all that shit, man. And even when it comes to fucking relationship, look at the shit that we're talking about. Check out the broadcast. I'm not making the shit up. I mean, I if you're watching me, just know I watch other people too, and I watch all kind of bullshit. I'm like, wow, okay. I see the battle between the sexes. I see no one is saying I need you and you need me. Isn't that what makes us? If you're in a marriage, if you're looking for marriage, isn't that what marriage is? The yin and the yin. So how do you go against each other? Anyway, even that. That's why. Okay, it's important to add positivity into your life, and the reason being, and when we're talking about positivity, I'm talking about to have a positive outlook on shit. So even us approaching that topic by going against each other, it's never gonna take you nowhere. Because ultimately, now you become the best at separating the two instead of having the two coming together. That's why these niggas are the problem, and that's how they talk about too. They become very, they are professional at telling you what the problem is. And a lot of us who doesn't have the proper knowledge, you listen to a nigga telling you the problem, but how do you put it together? I'm showing you, for instance, the problem with when you're not in connection with yourself, but I'm also showing you too when you're in connection with yourself. Listen, you don't seek for validation, peaceful compassion, not competing with nobody else, but concerned with you becoming a better version of you. I'm saying that to say, like, what are we really talking about? Do you see what I'm saying? Especially, again, going back to that's how you have to understand the collective consciousness. You got to be aware. And now, for me, that's how I know there's a lot of people who are lost, man. And especially, I swear to God, and when you have the you lost. When you understand, you fall so that you can get up. How do you have resentment against other people? What type of revenge would you even need? If I needed you to grow, I mean, do you see what I'm saying? Although you may have done me fucked up, I learned my lesson. My deal is done with you, dog. I mean, should I be seeking to show you you didn't destroy me? No, man. Then I didn't get my lesson. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's clear, man. Like just like people like just like we say, people can only pull you down because you're in front of them. I have nothing to pull you down because you're not in front of me. In nothing. In fact, you're not even in my world. And I guarantee you, it's facts. Hey, it is what it is. You believe what you want to believe. So again, that's what makes it one-sided too, man. You know what I'm saying? You're only fighting yourself, dog. Fuck what I look like. You know what I'm saying? Like I know you don't compare. How am I gonna fight to somebody who doesn't make sense, man? This is heavyweight. You lightweight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're not even a conversation. But not being a part of the conversation is also being the conversation too, and that's why I am bringing it up. Do you see what I'm saying? Tomatoes, tomatoes, man. But again, going back to us not embracing your feelings, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing in a society where more and more of us are not truly embracing our feelings. Now, we are embracing our insecurities, and that's not your true feelings, though. Do you see what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying? Now I definitely get it. Because now that your self image became your self esteem, then you think you're talking about your self esteem. But this is your self image, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you dress up a certain way, you look good. Understand, you're dealing with the self image. Yes, you could be feeling good inwardly too, but understand it's because of what you know. What I'm saying you feel that way because of what you look like. And those of us who understand the difference, we know that's why we we seek for, you know, what money cannot buy. We seek for that self fulfillment. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like I got nothing. Like when you have that self fulfillment, I just don't want to say like nobody matters, but it's like it's got to be irrelevant. I mean, it's got to be connected to what I'm on. Otherwise, I mean, shit, it's not my business. And I mind my business. I mean, because if you don't, I mean, how are you gonna be a king and if you're not ruling your kingdom? Who's the ruler in your kingdom? Well, if you're gonna be a queen, vice versa, it's the same shit. You gotta mind your business. And that's you brushing your teeth, you doing everything, washing your ass and all that shit, feeding your mind, and yeah, be the best version of you. But none of it could be done if you're not embracing your inner feelings. And I'm not talking about your insecurities here. Because I mean, and here's something else too. We're becoming a nation. You know what you're seeing is it's niggas insecurities. You know the whole movement and all that shit. Now, I mean, just like you'll see some. Shit, I'm not gonna shoot. Well, just like Dave Chappelle said, nigga, he said that shit. Google it. We're becoming a bitch ass nigga, like a bitch ass. I can't recall the way he said it, but a bitch ass niggas society, like where niggas are like concerned about, oh look at me, I'm crying, oh you know what you said wasn't fair. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's exactly again, but all of it, it's again, it's not a coincidence. Like he could say what he's saying. I mean, what he said is right in terms of he's looking at what's taking place. But for me, as I go a little bit deeper, it's not a coincidence. What do you think was going to happen? Like it was just a matter of time, and it might get even worse, or it may have to restart, reset. The, but the bottom line is, this is not a coincidence, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's just like here's another example that I like to use, right? So if you guys remember when Extentacion, you know, was murdered, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? The guys who killed him went on Facebook showing off the money and shit like that, right? And that ultimately that's the way that they were actually caught, right? For the most part, right, you could say that these motherfuckers were stupid, which is true. I definitely agree. But at the same time, they were also doing something else too, which is seeking for the validation. But first of all, anybody who's gonna steal, you do anything for that for money, you're already looking for validation. I want you to understand that. Because when you know who you are, like there's certain things you're not gonna do, bro. Especially stealing. I don't think so. Because you would be risking too much of you. You see what I'm saying? Like I love myself so much. Like I want to project it in the best light, and for me to do it, I can't. It's not. I'm not deceiving people. Like it's got to be done for me, like fulfilling in the best way. And just so you know, too, part of the fruit of the spirit, integrity, self confidence. This is all shit. Knowing your skills, sharing your skills. This is all part of you being you. You know what I'm saying? And because part of you being you, I'm pretty sure whoever the fuck you are, when you being you, you're gonna see something in you. Like I know for me, I may not be Michael Jordan, nigga, but there's something in me that I know, like this nigga, like if it comes to it, we gonna ball, nigga. Oh, you got the court. I'm gonna use my court. I'm not gonna play your game. I'm gonna play my game. So, and I can guarantee you that, man. Why? Because first of all, I know everybody's unique. So there's gonna be something special about you. Now, due to how fucked up you may be mentally, and that's what a lot of us goes through because we are mentally fucked up. You can't see the beauty in you. That's due to fucking insanity. I mean, there's no way any one of us think about it, man. You have a lot of people who are struggling with doing what the fuck they want to do or trying to figure out what they want to do. But here's what a lot of them don't realize. You are in your own way. You don't see it because you are in your own way, believe it or not. Because you are in between your true self and the fake self. But if you release the fake self, and that's what people do when they ask you this: what would you do even if you have money or if you don't have money? They're allowing you to drop the fake self, the fucking image that you fucking stuck to. Then now for you to just be you now, to be sane, and for you to be like, oh, guitar. or whatever the fuck it is. So, and it really like you don't know. It's really you being in your way. So now those of us, like as a spiritual healer, me understanding that, now I know how do I get help you to get you to remove you to help you to remove you out of your own way. That's technically what it comes down to. And one of the first way for you to do that, embrace your fucking feelings, man. Your inner feelings, good or bad. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of us, we understand that too. That's why crying is good. Because you purging, you releasing that fucking energy. That's why they tell you it doesn't matter. Like, if you think you're a man, here you go. Like, since I was talking about my ladies, there you go. You've been trained like you gotta be a man, you gotta be tough, everything. When you go through some tough shit, like regardless of how hurtful or how much you may want to cry, you're not going to approve it. You're not gonna let it fly because you attach to that fucking image. So I'm not telling you just to embrace your feelings, just to embrace your feelings. I'm trying to help you to see how much are you in your own way, to be honest. And a lot of us are so much in our own fucking way, we even create a whole fucking world. And that's what you do, especially when you, through like your early stages, when you got hurt, not understanding, you got to learn how to live with your pain. You got to put up with your pain. You don't suppress it. You say, hey, come in. Let's talk about it. And that's what you do when you go see a shrink or a fucking therapist or a counselor, whatever the fuck. They all use the same process. And that goes to tell you what? For you to be better, you gotta live with all your you gotta live with yourself, man. Yo, you gotta live with yourself, man. How are you in your body and you trying to be somewhere else? Your body's like, what the fuck, nigga? When you die, you separate. When you don't, now that you're alive, you gotta put up with yourself. And trust me, it's not that bad. Because as you're really delving into yourself now, your feelings, it's not making you a CC, it's not making you sensitive, none of that shit. In fact, that's why you want to learn how to be vulnerable. Because what you're doing is the first time you do it, yes, you're going to feel naked. Do it again, bitch. Do it again. Do it again, again and again. Then what you see happening to yourself is you're building what is called inner strength. And that's down the line, that's what's gonna be your confidence. Then now you become to a point where like when Michael Jordan would be pass me the ball, like he's not afraid of missing. In fact, missing the shot is not even a fucking option. Make sure I get the ball. Do you understand? So when you understand your true nature, when you're out of your own self, you don't want to fall. Like, what the fuck is that? Well, if you don't fall, you don't walk. Which one you want, nigga? If you gonna want to walk, you're gonna fall. And falling is walking. As you may be right now and not even acknowledging the shit out of it. If you're playing a guitar, you gotta feel, and then you put your fingers in a position, you get better by repetition. So what is falling? But for you to get up. And that's why to me, that Christopher Nolan, yo, he nailed that. I like that, white boy. Like it. Love it. And I love it. I love it. And that's the only reason why we're here. So again, when you're falling for the okie doke, you're living in your mind. It's like you all fucked up. And you truly Isn't that what crazy is? Because you don't have the inner vision, you can't really see. And that's what we see. That's what's taking place around you. So again, this is your this is your life, baby. But none of it could be done if you don't embrace your inner feelings and not your insecurities now. Your insecurities as you embracing your true feelings. This is how it works. What you call your insecurities is really the feelings that you're not acknowledging. Once you acknowledge that, that's when now you become what? A little bit secure. Everybody make mistakes, man. We all learn how? Through all fucking mistakes. If you're gonna learn, you gotta make mistakes. There's nothing motivational about this shit. There's nothing inspirational about this shit. But if you know the reality, if you know yourself, your essence, this is a living fucking experience. How do you want it? You let me know, man. Embracing your feelings, embracing yourself, embracing your pain. As you're doing so, that's why we say the remedy of the pain, it's in the pain. You develop your inner strength through your vulnerability. That's why you got to keep going. And just like you had to learn how to walk, well, guess what? It's the same thing as you developing your inner vision. And ultimately, as you staying on that path, then now you, just like Jesus said, he was the truth. As you becoming in alignment with yourself, you are also becoming that fucking truth, which is your true fucking self. Now you become a living testimony for the others. Because now they see how you change. They see how you became Christ-like. And that's how I'm fucking a lot of these motherfuckers up. So understand, you are the truth. And that's when now, when you start to understand that, then the information is transforming you. Then now, just like Jesus said he was the truth and the way, then now you're going to find yourself saying that. Because it is you, that evolution, you understanding that. It's you. Now the words now has been made flesh. You know, this is, I don't do a spirituality that's about talking. This is for the livings. This is not to sound good. This is not to tell you how to have a good behavior. This is how to tell you how to live your true fucking self. And that's the greatest behavior ever. And out of that, listen, everything else comes out of it. The compassion, the joy, the everything else. That they tell you what the fruit of the spirits are. But it's by you acknowledging, and here's something else too, your feelings also is reflecting the non-physical aspect of you. That's why you got to get into your dark side. Just like you got to be aware that you have a subconscious mind. Why? Because as you understand yourself, then you understand, the difference between the two. But also, if you're looking to, let's just say, change your fucking habit, then you understand, you got to deal with it on a subconscious level. That's why you'll see anybody who understand that you don't want to change your habit overnight, man. All you doing now, you got to set a whole new set of trend of fucking action. You're replacing it. That's why anybody, even for you to lose weight, you gotta become another motherfucker. Anybody who have ever lost weight, you gotta become another motherfucker. You can't be the same motherfucker that you were when you had your weight on. And that was the motherfucker that didn't care about what was going through his motherfucking mouth. Possibly that didn't work out, regardless of the path you choose to. I mean, it doesn't matter. But that's why we always say the key when you accomplish anything, it's not about the accomplishment. It's about the person that you became. And that's why you'll see a lot of people who lost weight, they become what? A little more confident. Not necessarily because of the weight now. Because you have skinny people who are not confident. You got to understand this. This is taking place through the transformation. You knew you put the work in. You knew, listen, man, I'm not going to have this. I'm going to stay home. I'm not buying this. Or you may choose, I'm not drinking alcohol. Whatever the fuck your choice is. Or you decided to fast. Whatever the fuck. It's who you become in that process. And that's what Einstein was saying too, man. You can't solve the problem with the same state of mind that created the problem. This nigga was talking some shit. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's how you cannot serve two God. That's why if you're gonna worship idols, Gucci and all that shit, what you look like, validation to other people, or seeking to sound smart to please society and all that bullshit, you can't follow the kingdom of God, bro. And if you're following the kingdom of God, which is your true self, guess what's gonna happen? Guess who now you're not gonna act because you're seeking for fucking validation. Now you're seeking the treasure, how it feels good, and you, motherfucker. So ultimately, guys, and I'm gonna shut it down here, right? Ultimately, what this has really come down to is two things. It's either you worshiping God or you worshiping idols. It's either you get into the divinity in you or you seek for vanity. It's two different things. And anybody who seek the divinity in them, that's why even though they got money, they always tell you, hey man, I'm blessed. They know the money doesn't identify them. That's why we say, and I don't want you guys to get it fucked up, money is a great bitch, it's a great servant, but not a good master. You never make money your master. That's the kind of bitch you keep, she's got to stay a bitch. The minute she become your master, you fucked. So again, it was just another way for me to say this, but I'm saying all of that to say, just to try to help you to see the differences in the state of mind, and showing you it all comes down to how you identify yourself. What do you identify with? That's what's going to make a difference. That's how I separate the real with the fake. And if you identify yourself with you, well, there's a chain of action that you making that decision comes with. And for the most part, when we take, I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm a fucking. I mean, I didn't do any research, but so far I can tell any motherfucker that I've had listening to, or that I had listened to, who became either successful or who attained a certain level of understanding. All of these motherfuckers, they acknowledge themselves. They acknowledge the divinity in them. They may not call it the way I say it, or they would say it's God in them, however the fuck you want to say it. Again, I always use this fucking example. Somebody asked Tyler Perry, you know what I'm saying, how did you become successful and shit? This nigga said, man, to be honest with you, man, just through the grace of God. And I totally get it. And I sustain everything he just said. But guess what? He didn't tell you. What he's saying about the grace of God, he was the only one doing what the fuck he was doing. He was the only one, he was the nigga going city to city. I'm not saying it's not by the grace of God. You know what I'm saying? Because I would say it too. Because I understand it's more than the results. And I understand it's more than the work that I put in too. But at the same time, I don't neglect it. Whereas 50 Cent was asked the same. Well, I don't think he was asked that question. But in one of his Grammy Award, the nigga went like, I want to thank myself. So if you want to go like, he's not humble, and let's just say Tyler Perry is the humble one, you're greatly mistaken. Because what Tyler Perry is not telling you, he may say the grace of God and all that shit. There's a certain amount of confidence, or maybe if he called it God, that he had in God. But all I'm saying is this. He put in the work. Whatever he's saying as this is a miracle, I don't see it as that. At that moment in time, when this nigga came out, what he was doing was successful in itself. And if that wasn't the case, he knew how to captivate the mind. I mean, not well, the mind too, but the people. This nigga, like his whole scheme it's he knew what the fuck he was doing. And if you understand marketing the way I do, in that way, this nigga is a fucking genius because he know what he was doing. It's almost like Steve Harvey with his fucking book. You know what I'm saying? What was the name of it? Think Like a Man, but Act Like a Lady. That's the same thing that this nigga did. He pulled the same stunt. I mean, it's not really a stunt. He gave you what you're looking for. Because you don't get a crowd by not giving them what the fuck they're looking for. To a certain level. Now, the way you give it may be different. And that could also add values to you in terms of what you're doing. But again, you're giving them something like, come on, man. I mean, think about it. Steve Harvey didn't put no gun into no bitches. And a lot of women actually buy that shit. So they already believed that they were fucking acting like a man while they were a fucking lady. And that's what the feminist movement is fucking about. Isn't it not? It's not really about females. It's the battle between the sexes. Nigga, you do that, I could do that too. In fact, I do it better than you. So technically, you're trying to be a better man. And you've totally failed yourself as a woman. Do you get it? Because you have this image. You don't see what you have. Again, delusional. This whole feminist movement is a delusional movement. Because if you're not saying how important it is as you as a mother in society and what you contribute to society, what is there anything feminist that you're really talking about? If you, I mean, are you emphasizing on the benefit that you bring to society? There's an African proverb that says, you teach a man, you have an educated man, but when you teach a woman, you have an educated generation. Is that what you're saying? And educated in what sense? We're not talking about going to college here. And nor if you choose to go to college, nor am I against it. Hey, and I mean, this is my stop, man. I'm gonna drop off right here. Let me go. That's not what I'm talking about here. You know what I'm saying? Again, this is for educational purposes. I don't give a fuck about how good, how bad, in terms of you mastering yourself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not asking anybody to go say fuck anything. In fact, there's nothing in what I'm saying here that's implying any of that shit. So this is for educational purposes, right? You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? But again, like delusional. And this is also because we're not in touch with our inner feelings. And a lot of us, we embrace our insecurities, just like I was saying earlier, because we don't embrace our true feelings. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong. Independent, you are also dependent. It's two sides of you. If you're a woman, let's just say you got a job, you know what I'm saying? You're saying you're independent. Well, you're dependent on that job. And if you have a business, you depend on that too. Isn't that the reason why all those businesses are open every day? Because if they don't open, how do they fucking make money? But most importantly, if people don't come to work, how do they even make fucking money? So it's the whole idea of being independent. You don't even understand that. I'm saying that to say, when you don't embrace your feelings, because that's what I'm trying to get you to see. Because have you had a little bit of feeling, then you would have understood. Like being independent, it's not acting a certain way. It's not saying I don't need you. You know what I'm saying? It's you being in charge of who you are. And then, in, in addition to that, yes, you do have jobs. I get it. But how would that come in between your fucking relationship? If you, again, are you that fucking delusional shit? And having the money's not gonna give you. In fact, today I was watching this shit. Right, a couple of those NBA guys, they were saying how it's like technically, man, like they're never home. They just give their wife that fucking credit card. Like, go ahead and buy shit. And this bitch is happy. Yeah, my man is working. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm saying that to say technically what there was like, yo. I mean, this is life. I mean, you gotta have that balance. I mean, that's how it's gonna be. It's not gonna be either this or that. It's gonna be both. That's why you have to understand polarity as a whole. And when you truly become independent, you have to embrace your dependency. And that's what you see the businesses are doing, for instance, when they're giving you fucking, I don't know, like Christmas parties. Showing you how much they fucking appreciate you. Why? Because they depend on you. And they also understand they gotta show that to you. Why? Because you are a human being. That's why a lot of those jobs, they are now switching to emotional intelligence. Do you notice that? Because now they understand, okay, how do I make sure? Because they understand people don't want money to be happy. That's why a lot of these jobs, they don't pay you more. Oh, this shit is all psychological, nigga. They understand it's not more money. In fact, certain companies, and I also remember, and this is, I think I had to write a paper about that. I think was it Disney? Walt Disney? I can't recall. But it's that. No, yeah. It is Disney. A lot of these motherfuckers out of fucking Orlando, for the amount of money that the company's making, People traveling all over the world. A lot of these motherfuckers, they make barely minimum. And that's facts. But they get the benefit, but most importantly, they get to be associated with Disney. So that makes them feel good, although they may not be making. So again, I'm just showing you, like, they understand that a lot of companies now they leaning more towards emotional intelligence because they understand. Hey, listen, if we don't have to pay you money to make you happy, why not trying to find out what is gonna make you happy? And guess what? It may cost them less money any fucking way, and it's working. So they learning how to be a better dependent. And that's how they're able to maintain their independence. Anyway, listen, it's on you, niggas. It's on you. But anyway, just to summarize real quick, 2 hours. Oh my God, lately I've just been talking a whole lot. But anyway, I guess, you know what I'm saying, after not seeing me for a couple of days, I'm very excited. And I want to share a lot more shit with you guys too. A lot of shit happening. Well, I mean, shit. Well, I mean, yeah. So, again, embracing your feelings is also you embracing the dark side of you. This is because your feelings, there's emotional intelligence, there's energy, there's messages in them. When you're hurt, that's why you gotta understand, why am I hurt? What makes me feel hurt? When you start asking these type of questions, what you're doing is you tapping into the energy, either if it's pain, whatever the fuck that situation is, you trying to get to the bottom of it. And as you're doing so, ironically, that's part of your shadow work. So again, even when we're talking about spirituality, the occult, all that shit is referring to my niggas, my bitches. It's your regular life. However you choose to look at yourself, kings, queens. I mean, if you're gonna say it, make sure you walk that path though. But for me, I'm comfortable enough. I could say nigga, bitches, king, and queens. Now you tell me, about the power of words, bitch. And I'll show you about the power of being. But anyway, we're gonna leave it here, man. You already know it's nothing but love. What we do here, man, it goes on to a fucking eternity. But anyway, always remember, when you always go within, you can never go without. And for you to be yourself, nobody else can be around. And as always, like I always like to tell you guys too, man, if you think money's everything, you know what I'm saying, you're going to do everything for money. And, the flip side of that is also true. If money is not everything, which is not. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if I were to say money's not everything, am I being humble? Or do I have a better understanding of what the fuck the shit is? You know what I'm saying? And anybody too who has money too, they understand. Even that, they know money's not everything. But they might be able to get people to do things because that's what they're looking for. Again, they playing on your feelings, on your ignorance. But anyway, we're gonna leave it here. It's always love. Aishin. Mali.